just loading. This is disconnected screen view. Okay, so what's it like to play this game in VR? The main thing is when you're creeping around these dungeons like this, it's actually really like creepy, and you get quite lonely and scared of the dungeons. Like, so that's why I've got all of these followers, because like I found when I started this playthrough a few months ago, I found that having a follower with you, it was quite reassuring, and you could kind of like work together with them, and it felt less lonely. It's kind of weird because I would never really care about the followers. Normally, I don't usually use them. I just play mage and like solo everything. But this is what I'm saying. Like when I went into VR, I felt like the follower really made a lot of difference. So I've got 3 of them now. I'm in master difficulty and I'm going to try and clear this dungeon. I think it's called Foral Host, something like that. It's near Riften, supposed to be one of the hardest dungeons. But I'm using Skyrim, so it makes it harder. Because it's master difficulty, it's going to be pretty difficult. So I want to see if with these followers can clear it. I'm playing like an archer class, whereas I'd usually play like a mage class. Yeah, so with the VR, it's you tend to struggle to get the frame rates that you need. So you need 75 frames constantly. This game isn't particularly well optimized, so it makes it quite difficult to get the 75 frames consistently that you need, and it depends where you go in the game. So Whiterun is particularly bad, for example. Certain places near Riverwood. This isn't too bad. I'm getting 75, possibly a little bit less. You can quite easily tell because it'd be very smooth. When it's not smooth, you notice like jumping. It's kind of like everything's vibrating, and that can make you sick, depending on how often it happens. But to get the game to run as fast as possible, you need to basically optimize it as much as possible in the ini files, and also like textures and stuff. So I'm using texture mods for this dungeon because it just looks so horrible with the vanilla. But generally, you don't want to be using any texture mods because it will drop. You will lose about 5 frames per second, and that's enough to drop you below 75. Obviously, you can't use EMBs either. Because they're not really supported by the stereo injection engine. But even with the terrible graphics, it still looks quite spectacular in places. Particularly like when you look out over the mountains, like long distance scenery. can look really nice at times, especially with the 3D depth effect. Like when you're looking through like a tree or something, you can see that like one branch is like slightly further behind the next one. Like it definitely does look totally different to a traditional game, and particularly the people are very convincing. Like it's quite effective illusion that there's a person right next to you, and it works fairly well in Skyrim because they're fairly realistic looking. So yeah, that's one of the things.
I've got your back.
And you might start to want them to behave more realistically as well, and you might start to get a bit frustrated with some of the things they do after a while. Like for example, instruct them to attack this person first, like they respond to what I do. So I have to run it, and I'm an archer, so like I'm getting wrecked. The thing with these ghost things is they're basically like not hittable until they've appeared, and to make them appear is like you have to go right up to them, which is quite annoying at times. To get past this, I don't have whirlwind sprint. Get in here, so come on. Alright. So there's more ghosts in here. See this guy here. That arrow went straight through. See, you probably noticed I don't have a crosshair. The reason for that is you want maximum immersion. So when I walk up to someone, I don't want like HUD stuff coming up in the way as much as possible. Same with the arrows, but the thing is like even if you have a crosshair, the arrow will not hit where the crosshair is showing necessarily. The only way it will hit is if you line it up perfectly. So this won't be accurate, this won't be accurate. It has to be, you have to line up the arrow visually and line up the crosshair, which is kind of difficult to do. So like I've just head off and alright, let's stop this. I would not stand there. See the screen's vibrating a lot there, not entirely. That's something that can make you sick. This dude has a bunch of health. I'm gonna get rid of she took taking care of him. Yeah. You could just about see where the arrows go sometimes, but it depends on the lighting. See, that's why I've got the pink arrows there, because that helps a lot to see. Oh fuck. I couldn't see what I was interacting with because I've turned the things off. And I keep dying really often, so it's like looting things is not really worth it. This water doesn't look right at all. It doesn't, the reflection effect looks completely fucked up, which is really disconcerting, and that's like the sort of thing that can potentially give you a headache. Using like pros in it, like doing that. So yeah, I should probably save it at this point, but I'm not going to. Alright, there's a bunch of ghosts in this room. Alright, ladies, get out of the way, please. Let's get them out of the way. No. This is a push ability. Which did not work. Ah, shit, alright.
Kanko!
Alright, thanks. So it's kind of teamwork. You've got to kind of pay attention to where all of your followers are. That's gonna. I don't know if I've got friendly fire on or not, so, but he's dead. There was 2 of them. They must have killed both of them. Even though it's in master difficulty, like with this many followers, it makes it quite straightforward. It's not too difficult, but I think there's dragon proofs in here and stuff like that, which could be a problem. I mean, I don't think my character is that powerful, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not really used to playing archers so much in Skyrim, but also I think like archers benefit a lot from using sneak, and with followers, especially with like. It's just like makes the things that you would usually do, it makes it a lot more difficult. Like even just now, just like aiming upwards here is very, very difficult because I'm having to tilt my head back, like, and it's also difficult to see where you're aiming. Jesus, whatever. When you get hit, it kind of knocks you off like balance, like, and that makes it really difficult to aim. But also when it's vibrating like that. That hasn't. I don't think that's happened. But that is one thing that can happen. Oh shit! How did that miss?
Kanko!
Yeah, how the fuck did that miss it? As I said, it's very difficult to aim. That is very, very difficult to aim sometimes. I can aim better with the bow. Oh shit. Drugas. Is there one up there? I can't even see. Stick a few things. See, why are they not helping me? Because maybe are they? Oh, that missed. Oh, that's see the stagger. That's annoying one. That missed. That stagger. Okay. It's really unfair. That should. I'd probably be better with a sword, but like when you use a sword, this is another thing. When you use a sword, it makes it like really hard to see what you're doing. So if I do a sword power attack, see if I just like slash like that, the camera bounces around. Especially if you do that. It depends what you do, but you'll find that the camera bounces around everywhere, and it's really quite distracting. It makes it hard to aim. Where do we go? I always get lost in these places. Ah, down here. Death Lord. Yeah, these guys are really strong, but they glitch for some reason.